welcome to Film Freaks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And now we're doing an audio review of John Wick Chapter 2. Unfortunately, much like with Lego Batman with our last review, we had to do this separate as an audio review because we're not in the same area, so we had to end up doing this as an audio review. So, with John Wick Chapter 2, a little backstory on this one. I've actually really enjoyed the first one when it came out. The first John Wick with Keanu Reeves, it was actually it was a great movie with how seeing Keanu Reeves back into doing action films again, and it was unique that the movie, because basically if you've seen the first one was about him getting revenge.
It came out in 2014.
Yeah, it came out in 2014, and it starred him and John Leguizamo, and I forgot that Russian dude's name, but he was also in it. But basically, the story was pretty simple. The first film had him going after these. He's a former hitman who is trying to live a retirement life, and then.
And he lost his wife to cancer or some shit.
Yeah, and then he lost his dog because he encounters this Russian dude who gives him shit, and then all of a sudden they break inside his home and kill his dog, and then he goes after them and kicks ass. That's pretty much the basic gist of it, because that's pretty much how the first one was.
Basically, alright, for this film, it actually came under radar in my book. I didn't even know this. I didn't even hear anything about this film. And I believe you let me borrow it.
Yeah.
When I first seen it. So I was blown away by it. It actually makes me feel like there's still hope. It made me feel like they brought back the 90s again.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And not just that, but it was also great seeing Keanu Reeves back in an action role where not only is he doing his own stunts, but also he's doing his own his own fight scenes and everything. And you really, when Keanu Reeves is playing roles like this, you can really, much like with Tom Cruise, he really does get into a lot of action roles where it's actually him doing most of the shit.
Yeah. Well, anyways, in the first one, what really got me into it also, I liked how it had that Ray Constantine rock feel to it.
Or and kind of like Collateral, because it also had like a Collateral feel as well.
It looked like Collateral, but it kind of had like rock music, and it did have a lot of rock music, but it also had a lot of Constantine lookish.
Yeah, it did, and that was also the thing that I really loved the first one.
It was kind of like Constantine meets Max Payne.
Yeah, well, not just that, but also in the first film and with the sequel, it deals with this underground corporation that works under the Continental Hotel, because there's a backstory.
He's a retired hitman.
Yeah, and then he works for this upper management who are basically working underground, secretly under the Continental Hotel that deals with criminal organizations. And the first film I really got a kick out of, and if I would have put that on my list, I would have put that on one of the best movies of 2014, because that was a hell of a great movie, especially with the brutal action scenes. You had Keanu Reeves kicking ass, and you actually really get into the emotional story of him losing his wife and his dog.
And what's really cool about that is it was an underground movie that came out of nowhere. People didn't really know what it was, but now it's a fucking cult classic. Now they got John Wick is up there as like an iconic character.
Yeah, definitely. And this is actually this is the biggest comeback that Keanu Reeves has done, because before that he had to take a long hiatus because he kept having disaster films coming left and right. So this
they moved John Wick up there in comparison to all their other 80s and 70s classic iconics. Now John Wick has earned his spot.
Yeah, and he's a guy you do not want to fuck with. And
so anyways, here in 2017.
Now in 2017, we now have John Wick Chapter 2, which I actually was looking forward to the most, because not only was I a fan of the first film, but it got me expectations, because it seemed like with this one, they were trying to pretty much expand upon the first one and actually show more of what John Wick could do with his character. And the story this time deals with John Wick. He's pretty much now officially retired, and then an Italian mobster comes to him. Well, I think he's Italian. I don't know what ethnicity it is, but basically another gangster comes to him trying to get him an assassination job to kill his sister, and it's up to John. He basically makes it to where if he does this task, he'll basically the reason why he prompts him is because John Wick actually does a blood oath that he gave to the management and to his criminal organization that said that no matter what, he can't abandon his role as an assassin.
Basically, I believe the dude was a Spanish dude, and basically the dude is he shows up saying you need to do this mission. John Wick's like, fuck you, I'm retired, man, I've been through hell, and basically the dude, fucks his shit up, and basically John Wick is actually told he is forced to do this job.
Yeah, and we're not going to spoil anything, but it resorts to him pretty much taking the job, and he goes on his way to basically, not trying to go into detail because I don't want to spoil anything.
Here's the best way to go without spoiling it. He goes and does this mission, and he is set up.
Yeah, and then all hell breaks loose, and he goes on a blood-torn mission to kill everyone that has screwed him over.
And what we mean by everyone, this dude has, godly. It's like, it reminds me of Matrix where all those fucking
Smiths. Yeah.
Mr. Smiths are after him.
Yeah, I remember those.
That's what it reminds me of. Because this dude, John Wick is fighting fucking 50, 60 motherfuckers, and it's making more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And not only that, I will tell you right now, not gonna spoil anything, it had one of the fucking, it didn't even have a happy ending, but it had one of the best fucking endings.
Yeah, it did. And to me, this is how you do a fucking sequel. Unlike other movies where we get pretty much the same, much like some sequels tend to repeat a lot of the same thing the first one does. With this one, they actually expand a lot with the first one. Not only do we get more with John...
They're actually, they wrote, the writing is straight fucking great in this film.
Yeah, especially not only do we expand upon more of John Wick's life, but also we even get more expand upon the criminal organization that he works for, because, not going to spoil anything, but you get to see other characters that are involved with this criminal organization, and in a way, it kind of reminds me of like how they did with the later Highlander sequels. Well, in a good way, not trying to really compare, but I'm just saying how they're all kind of linked together, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
not only that, this film is straight out brutal.
Oh, definitely, man.
Brutal as hell. I mean, the people getting shot in this film, and the fight scenes, and the parts, and this movie starts off action-packed. It doesn't wait a while. It starts off, straight out fucking kicking ass. Guys getting their face smashed against the walls, getting hit by cars, and this shit looks realistic.
Yeah, and what's cool about that is the way it's shot. You get a lot of wide shots where you can see everything happening at once, where there's even long takes where you see, sometimes you see long takes where he's running around and the camera just focuses on him, from behind, and you just see him kicking and punching motherfuckers left and right, and it just stays on that for a little bit.
And not only that, it also has where they, like the first one, well, they do it more in this one because now it became something iconic. They flow comedy very well in the film.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it feels like, what if Shane Black wrote John Wick?
I know, that's what it felt like, because the humor they make, I mean, it's dark humor, but it's meant to go with the tone of the film, because you can buy these kind of situations when these characters are talking, they actually come across as, very genuine, and they're pretty much there's, not to spoil anything, but there's conversations that John Wick has with characters that comes off natural, like he's actually talking to them like regular people.
I think the reason why I like John Wick, the series so far, and especially with Chapter 2, is it pays homage to the 90s again, where he's doing those, Shane Black one-liners.
Well, not just that, but he's come across naturally where he's just casually talking to someone, and they're casually talking to him too, where even though he's going to kill them, or they're trying to screw with him, he still makes it like it's an everyday thing. So, that's why I really...
the chemistry with everybody's flowness and the lines are fucking awesome.
Oh,
like I said, it's brutal, visually beautiful. Oh my god, the race scenes are awesome.
Oh, definitely. They're not going to go into detail, but there's a part where it takes place in a museum, and there's a scene that shows a lot of glass, and that visual shot they use is very stunning, very beautiful.
Very stunning. They also pay respects from the first one where you get the same house, you get the dog, so I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
For the first one.
Well, not just that, but you also get introduced to other like villains in the film that that I actually got into, especially Common's character, who's like the bodyguard of one of the other villains, and him and Keanu Reeves, him and John Wick have one of the best like brutal knife fight scenes I've seen in a long time. Like
That dude, that black dude, what's his name?
Common.
Yeah, Common. And what's really funny about that dude that made me hysterical, I could throw this out there because I ain't a spoiler. There's actually a funny scene where they're just like silently shooting each other while everybody's just walking past them.
Yeah, that was definitely hilarious. Where they're just walking like.
That, it reminded me kind of like Michael Keaton was talking really silently in Other Guys. It's like they're like.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like when they're just like shooting at each other.
Yeah, I remember that.
That shit, dude, I'm sorry. That shit had my ribs hurting.
Yeah, but not just that, but some of the other villains, too, actually shine in this one. Like, I'm not a big fan of Ruby Rose because I think, if you remember her, she's the girl that was in, like, season 3 or 4 of Orange is the New Black, where she played kind of the short-hair girl, and she was also in the new Triple X film. I really don't like her as an actress. I think she's very obnoxious and doesn't know how to deliver her lines properly. But here, her playing like kind of the deaf-mute woman who does like the sign languages. Yeah, deaf-mute woman who does like the sign languages. I really liked her character because that to me actually fits her really well. Where even though she's deaf and mute, she really captures that character really well.
Yeah.
And plus, I also got into a lot of the score they use, which especially the parts where they're at the rave and it plays like that heavy rock music. That guitarist kind of remind me of that guitarist off of Mad Max Fury Road. And but not just that, but this to me even ups the action where every scene you see, it's either someone getting shot in the head or you're seeing someone getting brutalized by getting shot in the neck or in the head, or when John's like fighting them and breaking necks and stuff. I mean, they upped it like to 100% this time. I mean, it's fantastic.
But everybody remembers from the classic lines from John Wick. He killed 3 men with a pencil.
Yeah, and then they actually.
I like how he relived that again. I killed.
Yeah.
He killed 3 more motherfuckers with a pencil.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, I have really little to no flaws with this film. And I want to go into more detail, but I'm really trying not to spoil because I really want everyone to go check this out. So, I'm going to really
I'm going to agree with Justin here. This was probably little to almost no flaws. This film, I was just having so much fucking fun. It was a fun time seeing this film.
Yeah, and so far out of the 2017 films I've seen, I have it pretty much tied so far with Split as 2 of the best films I've seen so far this year.
I have a hard time choosing, but right now, it's slightly above. I have Split, but this movie is going to be in my top 10. I have a film because so far it's up there. It isn't like either tied my first or probably the second best film I've seen of this year.
Yeah, and with that,
easily. And it's probably one of the best sequels of an action film I've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, to me, I think this is pretty much the Dark Knight of the series, where that not only do you even make it better than the first one, but you can even make this as kind of its own film with not even having to watch the first one.
Yeah, and not to spoil anything, the ending, there is a John Wick 3 coming.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that because.
Right now, all hell is gonna fucking break loose because don't expect your happy ending. This shit leads into like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and I'm really definitely looking forward to that next one because I hope this one at least makes some way with box office because it's sad that it got overshadowed by 2 other films over the weekend. I mean, one was good, but.
Well, I think it's gonna do it because John Wick was an underground film that we didn't know much about, but then became a very cult classic. This one actually had a lot of people show up.
Right, and it was pretty packed in that theater. So
yeah, well, it's climbing up on the box office. So
I hope it gets there. But overall, I'm gonna give John Wick 2 a 9.5 out of 10, with little or no flaws.
I'm gonna agree with you here. I'm gonna go with 9.5 out of 10.
And I can't wait for the next one.
Yep.
So, what did you guys think of John Wick Chapter 2? Comment below, and if you like what you see here, you can check out more of our reviews here, and we'll be seeing you in our next one. We'll see you later.